Hey everyone, this is Rachel, and today I'm here with a new scrapbooking process video. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you enjoy. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome, and I would love it if you would become a subscriber. You can also click on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video up. Alright folks, let's get going! Hey everyone, I am here today for the red, white, and blue color challenge over at My Little Scrapbook store. In the description box below, I will link to their Facebook group in case you also want to submit a layout for the challenge. And today I'm going to be working with some Cartabella by the Sea. I'm going for a more nautical beach layout rather than patriotic. It's just happened to be what I have photos of, so that will work better for me. I'm also going to be working with red and blue distress crayon and these Little Birdie prime chipboard stars. Now I picked these up from My Little Scrapbook store and I think they're totally cute, and I'm going to do a technique once I go ahead and get you put on fast forward. Before I do, two things. One, if you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. And also don't forget to check out in the description box below the links to all the My Little Scrapbook store stuff where you can get your scrapbook supplies and you can get lots of inspiration from a whole bunch of people over on the Facebook group. All right, everyone, I think that's all I got on to natter on about, so let's get going. Before we get started, I did want to mention the two distress crayons colors are Candied Apple and Chipped Sapphire. So the stars are by a company called Little Birdie Designs, and they are primed chipboard. So they already have gesso on them, so you don't need to gesso them, which is great because it means you can add mixed media to them without having to prep them. Now these particular ones come with foam adhesive on the back. I'm going to take that off because I thought they were thick enough on their own. So all I'm doing is scribbling on them, on the stars, with some of the distress crayons, and then taking a baby wipe and smudging them so the color then blends all together. Now I decided not to blend the blue and the red basically because I didn't really need or want purple on this particular layout, but you can absolutely do that. Blend multiple colors together and make a rainbow, make different colors. And here what I'm doing is I took a piece of washi and I blocked off part of it. So part of it's going to stay that white color, and then the other part, as you can see, I'm coloring with the chipped sapphire. And I was really happy with the way this turned out. All in all, I was very happy with how these worked, the distress crayons as well as the chipboard stars. So I'm just cleaning off, pulling off. Some of the adhesive came off when I took it off my mat. Some of it I had to pick off, which is fine. And you don't have to. If you want to leave the extra dimension on, that's totally fine as well. Oh, and I was so excited with how that turned out. I thought it looked super cute. I was very happy with the way those turned out. Now I'm just letting them dry a bit. They do tend to need a little bit of time to dry, and then I just went ahead and I cleaned up my mat from some of the distress crayon that got on it. So for this particular layout, I've got 3 photos. I have one 4x6 and 2 3x4s. Now I'm taking a look at this piece. Now originally I had thought to use the white shiplap as my background, but I decided I wanted to add the tiniest bit of mixed media, just like a little itsy bitsy bit. So I went and pulled just a plain piece of white cardstock from my my stash, and what I'm actually cutting out is this The Beach is My Happy Place 3x4 card, because I think it definitely fit quite well with this particular layout. So I'm kind of looking around, seeing what I have. I thought I was going to use this paper with the multicolored words all over it, and in the end, that is what I end up using. It was the one I was really drawn to. It definitely made sense with this color challenge being red, white, and blue to use this particular one because it is filled with red, white, and blue different words, different fonts, 2 different shades of blue, so it really worked quite well. So what I'm basically going to do is cover the bottom 2/3 of this page with this pattern paper. So the upper 1/3, I'm just going to take my distress crayons and scribble on a non-porous item, which was basically just some plastic from the garbage. Originally I thought I wouldn't need that much red, but I definitely needed more than I bargained for. So I'm looking for a really fine mist. I don't want big blobs. If I'd wanted larger blobs, I would have had to use more distress crayons, and I also would have had to pick a larger paintbrush, because the bigger your paintbrush, the bigger splotches you're going to get, and you'd also have to add quite a bit more water. And I really just wanted a fine backing. You don't even see it a lot, but it was just something I wanted for this particular layout, just to kind of, basically it helps because I'm going from the pattern paper to the white cardstock. I just wanted something so the white wasn't so stark. Now I'm going to go ahead and mat both this 3x4 card and then also the picture with my nephew in it on the B side of the red, white, and blue words paper. And basically that is just basically to bring direction to the person in this layout, and also because the wood grain... Sorry, my dog decided it would be fun to play with a toy. Oh, for heaven's sake, Sadie. All right, as I was saying, the wood grain in that particular 3x4 card is very light against the light background, so I just wanted to give it some differentiation. Now, you'll note I use a lot of adhesive normally with the Cartabella paper because it's textured, and then my background paper is textured as well. I like to use even more adhesive than I normally do. I did go ahead and I'm going to be inking up the majority of my papers with chipped sapphire, which will match the stars that I used the chipped sapphire distress crayon on. So I have it like this right now. I am going to switch things up just a little bit, but I have the tags and frames kit from this Cartabella line, and so I'm pulling out a couple of pieces that I think might work, both as a little embellishment cluster in the upper right hand corner, as well as for my journaling in a little bit. So I pull out that red and white tag as well as the tag with the lighthouse on it, and those are going to make up the base of my embellishment cluster in that upper right corner. I'm going ahead and getting my photos glued down. So I start to glue that bottom one down, and that is a close-up of my nephew's hand holding the little crab he caught whilst on a beach walk in April. When I decide that I like the idea of having the matted pieces be on opposite sides rather than being on the same side. So I went ahead and inked up the edges of that 3x4 as well as the 3x4 photo one, even though it's a navy paper and you most likely can't see it. I just did it for continuity's sake. Now what I really should have done was inked up the edges of the tags, but I forgot. So it's fine. It's not something I think anyone's going to notice, like, oh, you know what? Those up there aren't inked, even though the rest of the items are. But it's just something in hindsight I wish I'd done. So I start off with that small red chipboard piece in the upper right-hand corner, and then I have the 2 larger stars, one open, one closed, in that space where I'm going to have another embellishment cluster, and that's actually where my journaling is going to end up as well. And those are going to change just a little bit. I pull out these navy mini thickers. These were the original ones that came out with a Paige Evans line a couple years ago for my title, which is very simply Beach Walk. My nephew and his best friend were getting a little stir crazy, so when Connecticut went to phase 1 of reopening, they did go and take a walk on the beach. Understand, we live in Connecticut. There was nobody at the beach in April. The water is like absolutely freezing cold. They didn't go in the water. They just took a walk in the rocky part of the beach. So he's like, there was one other group of people there, and they were all the way down at the other end of the beach. So they felt that they were being safe, they had masks, and they socially distanced, and all of that good stuff. So you can see I switched the open star to the upper right-hand corner, and then pulled the white two-tone star, the white and blue two-tone star, down to the other grouping. A couple of reasons. The open star has a lighter feel to it because it has that opening. So personally, I find that when your items feel lighter versus heavier, I like the smaller items and the lighter items to go near the top, and then the heavier or the weightier items to go closer to the bottom. I also like the fact that with that two-tone star, I had the red, white, and blue in that grouping in those two stars. So I pulled, as I said, one of those other tags from the grouping, from the tags and frames bag, and I went ahead and heavily inked the edges of that because I do have a multicolor piece on top of a multicolor piece, so I definitely want to make sure there is differentiation in that particular journaling bit. So I went and pulled from my stash these enamel dots. These are from Echo Park. They're actually from a winter line. So just to show you, you don't have to use a beach theme or a patriotic theme. There are other groupings of colors where, a winter one might work, or a primary color one might work, where you can find the same color combination. Just finishing up my layout here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget, in the Facebook group, in the description box below will be a link to all the Facebook groups for my little scrapbook store. Don't forget to tune in for lives, and both on the Facebook page and on the design team's YouTube pages. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a wonderful day. I hope you're having a fabulous time no matter what time it is when you're watching this. Bye, everyone.